Hi, this is David from Mash IT. Today we're reviewing the Thinkpad T14 Ryzen 5 Pro laptop. We've already done an unboxing and first impressions of this laptop. If you would like to watch that, please check the link below in the comment section. Today we're doing the full review with benchmarks, so let's get on to the review. This is a 14-inch business class ultrabook. It's your typical ThinkPad affair with a fantastic keyboard, a great touchpad, the iconic ThinkPad nub, and a great light sturdy chassis. It's about 1.4 kilograms, feels great in your hand, and has a nice soft touch finish. It also doesn't attract fingerprints, unlike razor blades. I bought this model from the Lenovo store. The specs that I ordered are the Ryzen 5 Pro 4650U 6-core processor with 12 threads, boost to 4 GHz, 32 GB of 3200 MHz RAM, 16 GB is soldered on, and the others is a DIMM slot populated with a 16 GB chip. I ordered the 1TB M.2 NVMe SSD. It comes with Wi-Fi 6 and Bluetooth 5. It has dual far-field microphones and an IR webcam. I also configured it with a fingerprint sensor, but I didn't bother with the smart card because I have absolutely no use for that. You can also order it with a WAN, but again, we didn't need that. Well, let's take a look at the ports. On this side, we have two USB-C ports, a USB 3 port, an HDMI 2 port, a headset jack, and a micro SD card. And on the other side, we have another USB-C and an RJ45. This is for the smart card reader if you choose to have it installed. As I say, we haven't. On the bottom, if you remove these 6 screws here, this whole base plate pops off, giving you access to the SSD slot, one DIMM slot, and the WAN slot, which is a M.2 2242 slot. Apparently some people have managed to put SSDs in the WAN slots. If you check on Reddit, a few people have been successful doing that. Unfortunately, we haven't got a 42mm SSD, so we've not been able to test that. If that's something you'd really like us to do, please let us know and we'll try and get one in. Right, let's look at the keyboard. Now, I know we talked about this earlier on, but it's such an amazing keyboard that we definitely need to go in further detail about it. Now, I think this is one of the main reasons that you should be looking at a ThinkPad laptop. They produce amazing keyboards. It has a great layout, good key travel, and lovely tactile feedback. And they've got nice concave keys. It's also backlit with 2 stages of backlighting. Now, it is a bit dim, but it works fine in a dark room. And one thing that is a bit strange is Lenovo, for some reason, put the function key on the left side of the control key. Most laptops will be control first and then function. The good news is, if you want it back to the other way, because you're used to naturally touch typing your control on the far left, you can either swap it in BIOS, or you can go into the Lenovo Vantage software, and there is a section in this software, which we'll show you now, to swap it back to how you like it. Now, the trackpad, as Windows trackpads go, it's very good. It's responsive, it's smooth, works nicely. It's not quite as good as a Razer trackpad, and it's certainly not as good as a MacBook Pro trackpad, but it's as trackpads go, it's quite impressive. We also have the ThinkPad nub. Obviously, if you're buying a ThinkPad or you're used to ThinkPads, you were used to using these. I'm not a big nub user, but it's quite handy if you're typing to have that there to just be able to accurately move your cursor. The laptop also comes with an IR camera with a Think shutter. Just flicking that switch blocks the webcam. You'll see a little orange sort of icon there. And then flick it back out to turn the camera back on. This has been improved over previous years. It's actually quite easy to do now. Before it was a little bit fiddly, but I'm having no problems opening and closing the Think shutter now. It also comes with dual far-field microphones. I didn't notice it was much better than any other Windows laptop that I've used for recording audio on. I certainly wouldn't use it for a review or a podcast, but it's certainly fine for your Skype calls. I also configured it with a fingerprint reader as well. That was an extra £10, but I mean, I thought it was worthwhile for a mere £10 when I'm spending £1,000 on a laptop. Now this is the 400 nit low power screen option. 1080p, matte finish, and obviously 400 nits, so good outdoor visibility, and a very good option. And in my opinion, it's definitely worth the upgrade over the 300 nit panel, which is the base panel, which is nowhere near as good as this one. Now, unfortunately with Lenovo, there is a panel lottery, and I think there's 4 panels available in this 400 nit screen, and it's luck of the draw as to which one you're going to get when you order this laptop. I received one with an AU Optronics panel, and in my opinion it's a really nice panel. It's vibrant, it's bright, and I haven't noticed any ghosting on the light gaming that I've been doing on this laptop so far. Now the speakers, this year on this model we've got up-firing speakers at last. The older model, the T490, unfortunately had downward firing speakers, so if you had it on a bed or your lap it didn't sound great. This one is firing directly up at you, and it sounds pretty good as laptop speakers go. If you check our unboxing video, we actually tested the speakers, and you can see that in that video, which is linked below. Now we get to the interesting part, the performance. Well, what can I say but wow, this Ryzen 5 Pro is seriously impressive. Now obviously we wanted to buy the Ryzen 7 Pro, but it's currently completely unavailable in the whole of Europe. Now Lenovo had such a good deal on the Ryzen 5 Pro, we thought we'd give it a go. To start with, we ran Cinebench. The multi-core performance on this was 2,532 points. That puts it in line with a 45 watt mobile 9750H 6-core 12-thread processor from Intel. Then we ran Geekbench. The single core score was 1,106 and the multi-core score was 5,513. So again, putting it on par with an Intel 9750H 45 watt processor. Now this is the type of processor you would find in like a gaming heavy duty laptop, not an ultrabook. Now with regards to the sort of the 3D side, we ran Time Spy. And with this we got a score of 1,103. This puts it on par with like an MX150 based laptop, so not bad for the type of laptop that this is. We've also run Valley Extreme, which you can see running here. Valley Extreme scored 621 points. And then lastly, we benchmarked our SSD drive. We received it with a Western Digital SN730 NVMe drive, a 1TB model. It was giving us sequential reads of about 2,900 megabytes per second and writes of about 3,100 megabytes per second. So looking at these scores, we can see the multi-core performance is approximately 20% less than the Ryzen 7. So it's still very good for the Ryzen 5, and it's still, as I say, on par with a 45 watt Intel mobile chip that you find in big heavy duty laptops. So to have this performance in a 15 watt chip is seriously impressive. Now, yes, I would have loved the Ryzen 7, but I can certainly settle for this sort of performance in an ultrabook, especially considering how cool and quiet that this laptop actually runs. This is gaming at the moment in a Unigen Valley benchmark. The fan noise is hardly audible, and it's only warm to the touch after running for a good 30-40 minutes. So something that you can really use comfortably. You know, you're not going to get scorched fingers and you're not going to get deafened by fan noise. So a really good high quality ultrabook that can actually do some serious heavy lifting. Right, now I've got a decibel meter here. Excuse my volume picking up on the decibel meter. This will give you a good indication of how loud this laptop actually gets. I'm going to go silent for a second and you can see it picking up the fans. So that's about 37 decibels, and it's been running Heaven for quite a while. You can see, looking at the MSI Afterburner overlay, we're about 69, 70 degrees. We're running at the full 1500 megahertz clock. It seems to stay at the 1500 megahertz clock fine if it's not using a lot of CPU. But if you've got quite a heavy CPU and GPU game, you will see that dip. If you look at our gaming benchmark in the other video, linked down below, you can see there how much the actual megahertz dips by on a heavier duty game, such as Fortnite. With regards to the temperatures, as I mentioned, it does only get warm to the touch on the laptop. The vent is on the right side of the laptop. Now the good news is, it isn't too bad at all. The warm air pumping out of the laptop, it is only warm. So if you're using your mouse over the side of the laptop, you're not going to get scorched fingers. With regards to the actual power modes of the laptop, Lenovo have implemented the power scheme based on the Windows performance mode. So by clicking on the best performance, you're getting the absolute full performance of the actual CPU. In this T14 chassis, you'll get 23 watts in this mode. This is where this obviously T14 is better than the T14S, which is the slightly slimmer model from the ThinkPad range. Now the T14S will only get about 19 watts on the full power mode. So this is why the T14 is benching very slightly higher than the 14S. It's also a lot quieter and certainly cooler from what I've seen on the other reviews on the internet. Now if we click this to the better performance mode, which is the middle section in the Windows power options, it'll drop it down to about 15 watts on the processor. So then basically you'll have an incredibly quiet laptop. Even on load, you won't really hear it at all. When the laptop is just idling, it's pretty much silent anyway, so you're not hearing anything and you're not feeling anything here. Now with regards to the same in battery mode, by clicking the best performance on battery will actually also give you full performance on the actual processor. Unlike a lot of other laptops, you will still get that 23 watts on battery by clicking that best performance. This is very handy. The amount of times you're working away from an outlet and you're getting throttled so badly, you have to run over and actually plug in to finish the job that you're doing. Now, with regards to the battery life, this has been very, very impressive. I ran a YouTube streaming test, 80% screen brightness, and I basically got 10 hours of YouTube streaming over Wi-Fi, so that's really quite impressive, about 10% an hour. This is by far better than all the Ryzen 3 series laptop that came before it, which was well known for pretty poor battery life. So finally we're getting Ryzen with decent battery. Right, so final thoughts. I think Lenovo have made a fantastic laptop in this T14 ThinkPad. It's got an amazing keyboard, a great screen, a really good touchpad. It's lightweight, it's got good battery life, it's robust, it's got amazing ergonomics and usability, good speakers, and it comes in at a really good price. I paid 1,000 Great British pounds for this laptop. So for £1,000 I'm getting 32GB of high-speed RAM, a 1TB NVMe SSD, the great screen, keyboard, and 3 years of Lenovo warranty. So all in all, I think they've really hit out of the park with this laptop. If you want a laptop for heavy gaming, then this definitely isn't for you. This is the one downside to this. This is an Ultrabook. It's got an amazing CPU performance, but really only going to be used for light gaming. Dota, League of Legends, bit of Fortnite, CSGO, absolutely fine. But as soon as you start hitting any AAA titles, it's just not going to work at all. Also, when it comes to buying this from Lenovo, make sure you keep your eyes open. Never pay full price from Lenovo. They've always got discount codes. They give you a good 10 to 15% off. So if you choose the spec that you want, then keep your eyes open for a discount code before you buy it. So I think I got about 15% off this one when I got it, and they had special offers on the RAM and the SSD upgrade. So definitely keep your eyes open for that. If you like this video and you want to see more content, please subscribe and please click the notification bell so that you're notified of upcoming reviews, how-tos and instructional videos. We will probably be doing some head-to-head videos with this with some other Ultrabook laptops, as well as the many other laptops we've got coming. Thank you very much.